Good evening, welcome along to Matchday Live. As you can see, our fans are arriving at the stadium there, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the United States, for this second group fixture as we take on AIN FC from Abu Dhabi. Of course, here for the FIFA Club World Cup. 32 teams fighting out to be crowned the best club in the world. This, of course, the inaugural competition, which takes place across 12 stadiums in the USA from the 15th of June all the way to the 13th of July. And hopefully we'll be with you every step of the way, fingers crossed, making it to that all-important final. But a win tonight will be a huge step forward in securing qualification into the next round. Now, if you want to watch the game tonight, you can do. It is available absolutely free over on DAZN. Just check that out there. You can get it for free along with all the other games in the competition. Joining me in the stadium, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Nader Manua and Paul Dickoff in the studio, not the stadium. And I can bring you the starting 11 right now. It's on the bottom of your screens there. I'm going to run you through it. Ortega in goal. It's changes galore as we bring in Akanji, Kusanov, Gvardiol, and brand new signing Ain't Nori starts at left back. Moving into midfield, we've got Nico, Ilkay Gundogan, and first-time as club captain Bernardo Silva, Mateus Nunes, Echeverri, and Haaland complete the starting 11. And let me run you through this bench. This is quite unbelievable. Ederson, new signing Bettinelli there, of course, the third keeper. Ruben Diaz, Reinders, John Stones, Nathan Ake, Omar Mamouche, Jeremy Doku, Rodrigo, Victor Ace, Savinho, Cherki, Phil Foden, Oscar Bob, and Nico O'Reilly. And there he is, the man in charge of it all, Pep Guardiola. Naden, we got off to winning ways. Hopefully we'll be doing the same tonight. Whole new changes as well from the squad. What are you making of that team?
No, it's good. I think the manager was speaking about how he was going to use the whole squad whenever he could, and it's good to see that the whole squad is still very, very good as well, by the way. Because as you mentioned, the bench, you also see the starters there. You've got some players who've been so important for City across the last few years. So it is good to see, and it's clever as well, because to get through this tournament in the way that they probably want to, you're going to have to make sure the players are fit and ready to be able to do it. And I think come the start of July, middle of July, some of the other teams might be struggling a little bit because of the workload that the players have been through, but it's Pep with a plan, and certainly a squad that wants to make a difference as well.
And it's important as well, isn't it, Paul? I think it was Pep was saying that this isn't the end of last season, this is actually now the start of the brand new season, and you can see actually it feels like the energy in camp, all the noises coming out from the United States as well, is saying it very much seems to be the feeling within the team that this is us now starting as we mean to go on. It is, and it's like it's the pre-season. I'm going to have to use it as the pre-season. And I was speaking to somebody the other day there, Kel, and they were saying about, is it a hindrance being the Club World Cup, and how's the squad going to cope being away for 4 weeks? I think it's a really good thing. Yeah. Naden will tell you, sometimes when you get new signings coming in, it takes them a while to adapt to it. Now, like Cherki, Reinders, Nuri, and even you could put Kusanov, Vitor Reis and that, they're going to be away for 4 weeks, knowing how they play together 24/7 in there. And I think leading into the season, that can only be a good thing going into the start of it. But like Naden said before, the squad thing is going to be really important, not just with the workload, the weather. Naden will tell you better than anybody else what the heat is like out there and to play in the games. And the more we can rotate these group games, hopefully get into the latter stages, the better we're going to be for it. Absolutely. Listen, we're going to get more into the starting 11 in just a moment. But to get things going, to get us warmed up, we're going to play a little game. So we've had plenty of experiences over in the US in recent years. We've had tours under Pep Guardiola, Roberto Mancini, and Manuel Pellegrini too. So we're well versed to being in the States. So the game we wanted to play is classic game of what happened next. Okay? Yeah. Just to get us going.
Yes.
Early for games. We're rocking and rolling.
It's not late anymore, is it? No, it's just early, yeah.
So we're going to go through some moments from those tours.
Okay.
This first one is a Balotelli clip. So let's have a little watch and then see if you can work out what happened next.
I've got a feeling I know what's going to happen next here.
I think I've got a little feeling as well.
Yeah, this is summer of 2011, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think he thought he was offside. So he just pratted about and backheeled it wide. Yeah. I don't think Roberto thought the same thing.
No.
Yeah, I think that was clearly obvious.
Yeah, I'm just a guess that Roberto wasn't best pleased. But yeah, I think that's the summer of 2011, and it's a very famous incident.
It's the turnaround back heel. Let's have a little quick look here. I think Dzeko's fuming as well, is it, Dzeko?
Because he's just confused. It's like one of the most irregular moments you've probably ever seen.
Dzeko's like, what are you doing?
What? I mean, what would you have done, Paul, if Sean Goat tried to pull that out?
For a start, the goat would never even try that to start off. Just try and get it done. And if it was a goat, it would have been in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But it's one of the, he's probably just like, it's pre-season, the game doesn't mean that much.
But that's such a great, for me, like, I like Mario, so maybe I'm a bit biased, yeah. But this is literally, in a nutshell, what it was like with Mario in terms of people misunderstanding him. Because he's not tried to disrespect someone by doing that when he's 3-1v1. He just thought he was offside. And that's what he was trying to say. And obviously Roberto thought otherwise.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, he's misunderstood that, but he's also a young player.
See, I don't mind that, though. If it goes in the back of the net, we're all saying how brilliant he is.
But he was never trying to get it in the back of the net, because that thing, to be fair to Mario, if he wanted to...
He'd just put it in the back of the net.
He would have put it in the back of the net, yeah.
I do kind of respect, though, the sub, though.
Yeah.
Nah,
listen,
come on.
Those two, they had their moments. They did love each other, but there was...
It was a tumultuous father and son relationship.
Sometimes it was stepfather, sometimes it was father. You know what I mean? Let's just put it that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
OK, next up, this is Rico Lewis's debut at 17 years old versus Bayern Munich. Take a look at young Rico here. So here he is coming on for his debut, 17. Do we know what happens next?
Is this the game where it was delayed? Did he score? I think, no. Did Rico score?
He nearly scored as soon as he came on.
Nearly scored as soon as he came on.
Shall we have a little look?
Yeah, let's have a go.
Here we go. Lovely bit of play. Oh.
Was that Cole Palmer? Is that?
Oh.
Yeah. What could have been it?
It was a young Palmer as well.
Yeah.
See it.
Do you know? And I feel like then his first goal though was not the goal that he got in the Champions League. That was almost quite similar.
Same angle.
Yeah, where he comes across and does that finish.
That's Rico always learning.
There we go. Yeah. OK, third and final one. This was against Bayern Munich, 2022. Same game. You are right. It was when we did have a rain delay. But can you guess what happened in the 12th minute?
It's a big man's first goal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Gets played out wide, and then it's cash.
Yeah.
We're about to see something that's happened, was it, nearly 100 times over since then?
Yeah, it's set the precedent.
Yeah, ball goes in the box. I remember someone saying there's 10 a season in there. If you stand in 6-yard box, well, Haaland's getting 20 plus, you know what I mean?
He got 30.
Yeah, that's cash.
That's
cash.
The start of history.
Ball goes wide. Who's in the box? Haaland. Cash.
Also, the take from Jack, though, as well.
Yeah.
Lovely.
That was the start of Jack's best season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the start of the treble season, isn't it?
The treble season.
Yeah, that kid will always remember that.
Also, I mean, and Haaland just came and just broke record after record after record.
Exactly, yeah. Tell you who's devastated here, though, Nathan Ake. He thought, didn't he?
Right. We all knew he was going to go on and score goals, but you would never have thought he would have got 52 that season, would you?
Yeah, that's outrageous, really, when you think about it.
Frightening, absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
He does start today, and of course, I mean, it's interesting as well, the conversation about him being a little bit quiet last season, yet I still think he came out with, is it 30 plus goals across all competitions. But I guess, again, you know, with the standards that he sets, he also has been put into the captaincy group by Pep.
Has he? That's good.
Yeah, so I think the four captains this year are Ruben, Bernardo _1, then it's Ruben, Rodri and Erling Haaland.
I like it.
What can that give? Because he's still relatively young, Haaland, but does it... Yeah, I don't know, will it add a little bit more, I don't know, gumpture to him, a bit more kind of to have that responsibility?
Yeah, so I think Paul will have a good sense of this, having been a player and been a coach as well. But I think as a young player, to have to take on responsibilities, firstly, it's an honour, but then also you've got to think about things in a slightly different manner.
Yeah.
Because I think at times as a player, you can almost get bogged down in almost thinking about self. But when you are one of those leaders, like, people will be looking at you more. You have to lead by example. Because if you don't, then other people sort of just follow along with what you're trying to do, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that he's been put on that, and it seems that, you know, Haaland's at that sort of age where he's young, but he can still continue to get better and go to that next level. Maybe this will be the step forward, in my opinion.
He wants to get better as well. he's not resting his laurels. I think the big thing about this captaincy thing this year, that came from the manager.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when it's the players that, I'm not saying there's a right way to do it or a wrong way to do it, but you can vote for your mate sometimes. Or somebody who you sit next to in the change room. The fact that Pep's the one that's come out, and the other ones, obviously Ruben, Bernardo, they're the senior pros in there.
Yeah.
So for Erling at 23, 24, to be given that responsibility, it's going to make him feel bigger and better and more important than what he is already.
Yeah, I think as well how many players Guardiola's seen in his career. You know, what I mean? Both when he was playing and him as a manager.
For sure.
So for him to be seen that as the four, and for Haaland to be alongside Ruben Diaz, Bernardo Silva, who've been there and done that for the club in that manner. You know, Rodri as well, someone we can see as a clear leader.
For sure.
That's a huge accolade.
Yeah, man. Another player I want to pick up on is Phil Foden, because he's still kind of young, but he's actually probably now one of the senior players, also won the most trophies. But first, we're going to hear from our manager, Pep Guardiola.
Pep, 11 changes tonight. Here we are again, but a very different team for you with 11 changes. What was the reasoning behind that? Was it a result of the conditions in Philadelphia?
No. I decided from the first 2 games I play everyone, so Ruben cannot play, but we'll be ready for the next one.
Debut for Renet Nouri. What can we expect from him? What does he bring to your team, in your opinion?
We have shown in Premier League, you know, with balls, can play more outside, inside, so and it's important for the new players to start to be dynamic, but knowing it's not a friendly game, so today we have a huge opportunity to be already qualified for the next stage, and this marvelous stadium, but today I think the hot and the weather conditions will be better, so we can perform and take a result.
Yeah, as you say, through to the knockouts with a win tonight. What do you want to see from your players this evening?
Man City. So collectively, you know, do it together, individually perform the best and individually everyone, because also in the same time will help who we are as a team.
Thank you, good luck.
Thank you.
Massive thank you to DAZN there, who brought us that interview, and of course that is where you can watch this game as well, completely free. In fact, you can watch all of the Club World Cup over on DAZN there. You can see it on the bottom of your screen. I did it before the tournament began. Very easy. Sign up and you can get all the games at your disposal. Back to the conversation we was just kind of talking about. Obviously, Erling Haaland stepping up as being one of the 4 captains. Phil Foden, obviously, goal and an assist in the first game. I think he spoke about it being a fresh start for him from last season, not the season he wanted last year. But what's so interesting is that he's still relatively young, but he's one of the senior players, and he's also now the player who's won the most trophies in that dressing room.
Outrageous.
Is Phil Foden.
Yeah. That's
phenomenal.
25,
that,
is it?
Yeah, 25.
25 what, sorry? 25 years of age?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 25 trophies for a second.
It won't be long.
Yeah, literally it will not be long at all, yeah. Well on the way, yes.
From his debut in 2017, yes, so he's obviously probably not one of the most captains, a player who's won the most trophies in the dressing room.
Yeah, he's deserved to be in that team as well through all those years. I think you've seen his talent, you've seen his mentality. Last year was obviously disappointing for season 4, but when you think about the amount of seasons that he's had, that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
And for the way he started this one, you know, if we're going to class the Club World Cup as being the start of the next season, it's exactly what you want to see from him. You know, you could see the joy that he had when he scored that goal, the joy he had when there was the assist, and the joy being out there playing good football with these new players as well. And I think that sense of responsibility is there now because people look at him in a certain way. There's a level of expectation that he knows that he almost has to play up to on a week-to-week basis. So I'm excited to see how he performs this year, and I think best of all, like, we can have these conversations about form, so on and so forth. This is also still his club. You know, this is the club that he supports. So you know that whether it's up or down, doing the best that he can means everything to him because, you know, it's the club that he supported since he was a kid.
Yeah.
So I think he got unfairly treated last season. Yeah, they had a poor season by his standards, but I think he was victim of the team having a poor season as well. And
For sure.
And because he'd won the Player of the Year the season before, because people are talking about where he plays for England and everything else, I thought it was a bit of an easy target. Yeah. And I thought it was quite poor from a lot of people that were doing it as well, because he's openly admitted now that not just on the pitch but off the pitch he struggled a bit as well. Yeah. And I know it was only the first game of the Club World Cup and everything else, but he just looked different. Yeah. And how he handled himself with and without the ball, you know, he looked stronger, he looked fitter, it looks as if he's been working really hard in the season, and I've no doubt that Phil's going to be back to being one of the best players, not just in the Premier League but in Europe again.
And I guess he's another one as well that, with the Erling Haaland point, feeling that little bit of extra responsibility in his place in the team, and also the standard he set for the academy players as well. He spoke about wanting to help young players. I guess that can only as well help garner, more kind of want to do even better and set that standard.
Yeah, for me, I think these players who sit at the top of the tree, they haven't just arrived there by chance. They've worked very, very hard to be there, to be in that position. You know, they have their talent, but it's everything else around them that makes them the players that they are, because these guys are available throughout most of the season. You know, there are times where, you know, a conversation doesn't really get had. As players, you're tired. But I'll tell you who's tired, the players that play every single week, the ones who play 6 games a season for like their club and international football as well. But they're so driven to be successful that, you know, that's something that sort of takes them to that next level. So I think with Phil, again, that link to City, when I've been lucky enough to go to some of the games in the last few years when they've been playing in the Champions League, for example, as they walk out there, you see them walk out with the younger players, the ones who are getting a taste of it for the first time. You know, I remember back in the day, well, say back in the day, it's such a silly thing to say, Rico Lewis, like a few years ago, you know, some of the other ones coming through, like, because he understands what this stage is like for a young person.
Yes.
So he understands, like, as crazy as he is, he's living in the now, but also giving back, which is wild to think of, but it's the experience, as you've mentioned. He's done it for a long time.
Yes.
He's got a feel for it. He understands the value in those moments, and again, like, he's so good.
Yeah.
He's so good, and I think if he gets anywhere back to his best, I think City will be great this year.
It sets his standards so high as well, and, you know, I don't know for sure, but he's probably looking at it and thinking, well, Kevin's gone. There's going to be somebody that's going to have to really step up now. And I think he's the one that's capable of doing it. He's got the ability. He can play anywhere, in midfield or up top as well. He can create, he can score goals. And, you know, the best players want to test themselves and be the best themselves. And people at Phil will be thinking, you know, Kevin's gone now. We really need somebody that's going to step up to that level that Kevin was at, which is going to be so difficult.
Yes.
But Phil's more than capable of doing
that.
that.
I've got no doubt whatsoever.
And I guess actually that we've now got a wealth of players that can play in those wider positions. Naturally, you'd probably think he'll now be able to operate more centrally, but maybe with that freedom that Kev had as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe. Although the way that Kev plays the game is very much the way that Kev plays the game. You know what I mean? That's one thing we've got to say. The way he sees it and the way he moves, like, I don't think the manager's told him this is what he has to do. Let's just say that. I think it's a rough idea of structure. But with Phil and some of the other players available now, like, what I like, if the players remain healthy, the manager's got a choice every single week about what he thinks the team need to win a game of football. And I think the players who are the most versatile will be the ones who probably end up playing a lot more, because there are different looks he needs to give certain teams.
Yes.
Whether you're playing against a back 3, back 5, back 4, team in transition and so on and so forth.
And they're going to be so hungry. As well. Because that midfield area and the wide areas, competition for places. So if you're in the team, you're going to do everything you can to stay in it. 100%. And if you're not, you're going to be in the training sessions. They're going to be electric, because people, they want to play these.
Yeah.
They're not happy sitting in the bench.
I think the thing that we hope it changes more than anything this year is that players are available for longer periods of time. You know, we spoke about last season and the disappointment that some players had. I think maybe half the team had a significant amount of time on the sidelines throughout the season. And whether it was broken up, whether it was a case of being out for 3 months or being out for 3 months in total, spread across the whole time, they've probably had some of the worst seasons from a health perspective that they've probably had so far.
Yes. Definitely definitely.
If availability is there, the desire is going to be there. Because again, like for myself, Paul and so on, like, obviously Paul played to a higher standard than I did, but like, these are the best of the best. These are the best of the best. The way that they do things, at times we can't even comprehend it when we see it. But if they're available and they can perform to that standard, honestly, it's going to be a great season.
The sky's the limit.
And beyond.
And beyond. Lovely. Right, moving on now. Before we start looking, of course, at the opposition, and we'll come back to the City team as well, we asked, we got AI involved in the show. So we've seen the rise of AI over this last year, and I think it's only going to happen more and more. So we wanted to get involved in the show, and we put some information into our AI bot and asked it to explain to us, as if we were children, how this competition format works, OK? So we've got a little explainer here just to remind us, and you all at home, how this format works in the Club World Cup.
Imagine a big soccer party with 32 teams. They're divided into 8 groups, like small teams of friends. Each team plays the others in their group once, and the 2 best teams from each group move on to a special round called the Round of 16. From there, it's like a big elimination game. Teams play 1 match, and if they lose, they're out. This keeps going until one team wins the shiny trophy. If a game is tied after the regular time, 90 minutes, they play extra time, and if it's still tied, they decide the winner with a penalty shootout. That can make the game super exciting. This new tournament is bigger than the old one, called the FIFA Club World Cup, which our team won in 2023. The old one had teams from each continent, like Europe's best team from the Champions League, and was played every year. Now, this new, bigger tournament happens every 4 years, starting in 2025, with lots of great teams from the past 4 years. The old version is now called the FIFA Intercontinental Cup and still happens every year for the continent's best teams.
So there we go.
I didn't know that. Didn't know that. Oh, my hands up, didn't know that.
There we go. Do we like the voice as well?
Well, I thought it was going to be explained like you were a child, not that a child.
A child will explain it to us, yeah. There we go.
It did its job, yeah?
A child was explaining it as a child.
As a child, yeah.
To us.
It's a really tuned-in child, that, isn't it?
Exactly.
So the Intercontinental Cup, is that still happening this year as well, or not?
I think it will be, yeah. I think that's carrying on all the time as if that's normal.
Yeah, you sounded like you knew that then. Yeah.
Well, I'll put it back into the AI bot. I think we need a name for that AI bot as well at some point. I think that could be popping up more and more throughout the show.
Yeah.
Just saying. OK, on your commentary today, which of course we bring you for every game on the Manchester City app, Alistair Mann is alongside Andy Morrison. He's going to bring us the AIN team and give us the thoughts from himself and Andy.
Yeah, thanks, Kel. The crowd looks as though it's going to be quite a good one. There is a lot of excitement. It's a later evening kick-off than the one that the Blues face in their opening game, so plenty of opportunity for those who've been at work and college and school to get themselves to this magnificent stadium. So we're expecting another very healthy crowd with kick-off obviously coming up in around about 40 minutes time. I'll run you through the AIN side so that you're aware of tonight's opponents. You probably won't have heard of any of these players, but I'll give you a little bit of guidance. But the goalkeeper is Khalid Issa, then it is Rami Rabia, Fasundo Zabala, Amadou Niang, Adis Yashic, Park Yong-woo, Yahia Nader, Mohamed Abbas, Sufyan Rahimi, Nassim Chadli and Abdul Karim Traore. The truth is that this is a team who were thumped 5-0 in their opening game against Juventus, and in that game they decided to deploy their brand new signing, the very experienced Portuguese international goalkeeper Rui Patricio, but he had such a disastrous debut that they've reverted to their usual number one goalkeeper Khalid Issa. Alongside me, the former City captain Andy Morrison. Obviously we don't know too much about the opponents. Obviously we know that they are a mixture of UAE internationals and one or two other nations as well, but the fact they lost so heavily to Juventus surely indicates that the Blues will be big favourites for this one.
Yeah, obviously, Ali, but you know, listen, it's a fantastic stage for them, and I'm sure they're going to want to bounce back from that performance and that result and give a better account of themselves tonight. So there should be more energy from them, and there should be more focus, because that's, you know, quite a difficult one for them to take collectively, 5-0 in the opening game of such a prestigious tournament. So yeah, I expect to see a big reaction from them tonight. Whether it'll be enough to stifle City, I'm not so sure.
And with Juventus winning earlier in the game against Wydad, who of course City beat in their opening game, the Blues know a victory here takes them into the knockout stages. So is there a significance not only in the performance but in the result tonight?
Yeah, I think, you know, listen, they want to give a good account of themselves and obviously win the game. You know, the more goals, great, but you know, to get, you know, to qualify, win this game and then go into that final game knowing that it's in your hands is so important. And you know, they'll be going about it in the right way. You know, we're looking at the team there now and it's exciting on so many fronts.
And of course Pep said ahead of the game that he was going to make a lot of changes. He's made all 11. He said he wants to give everybody some game time. A debut for Orion Ait-Nouri. From what you've seen of him, does he look like a very sensible acquisition?
Yeah, Ali, listen, I mean, we can all talk after the event, but I've really liked him for many seasons now. And I remember at a game a few seasons back with my son and saying, you know, he looks like a City player, you know, the way he carries the ball, and he's so comfy in possession, further up the pitch, doesn't give it away, can drift inside, can go on the outside, and very talented and a possession-based footballer who's got all the credentials you'd need, you know, to play for Pep Guardiola.
it's interesting that once again we're looking at the 11. We're not totally sure who's going where. What's your gut feeling about, for example, who's going to be in which positions at the back?
Well, yeah, we always have this. I mean, Ait Nouri's going to be further up the pitch. Probably end up being our highest player on the left-hand side, and the rest of it will balance off against that. I'm pretty sure Haaland will be through the middle.
Yeah.
But what I'm excited about, to see how the rhythm is, and how fluid they are. Because yes, they're top players in their class without a shadow of doubt. We know that. But the familiarity, Ali, of not playing together, and again, listening to the boys in the studio, they want to make an impression. It's a human nature. You want acknowledgement, affirmation. You want to show that you're ready and you're good enough to play for Manchester City. So the expectations on them and the pressure on them is great. I think it's fantastic that energy that's going to be brought in again. The players again wanting to prove themselves to the manager, to the players, and to the fans.
Just one final thought. On our monitor is a big close-up of Bernardo Silva, who's been named by Pep as the club captain. In the last few seasons since Pep took over, he let the players decide. Yeah. He's decided that Bernardo Silva's going to be the club captain. What do you make of that?
Well, Ali, from the last 4 months of the season, he was player of the season, and I think if we had the manager in front of us and asked him, he'd say, yeah, he's been magnificent from January on, and just the way he carries himself and everything. He doesn't have a night off. He's not one of these players who turns up. He's there every single game. The way he goes about his business, he's. We've got somebody in the doing the studio tonight, Paul Dickoff, who he knew how to carry himself in a smaller stature, and Bernardo's got a heart the size of a lion. He never backs down from any challenge, and he wants to be on the pitch competing, and has leadership qualities in different ways to Diaz. But I'm a huge admirer of Bernardo Silva.
That's Bernardo Silva's 405th Manchester City appearance, and let's hope that it's going to be a good one. Let's go back and join the studio with Paul, Nadem, and of course Cal.
Thanks so much, Ali, and thank you, Andy, as well, for your thoughts. Remember, you can get their commentary over on the City app, and if you do want to watch it, you can do that over on DAZN. Just quickly, a few bits of history we made throughout this competition. This is the first time a meeting between a team from England and a team from the United Arab Emirates in any competition, which I guess these are the little things that we're getting from this Club World Cup. Quite an unknown opposition. You were mentioning the heat. Would you think maybe that does benefit them a little bit more, maybe because they're used to playing in hotter conditions?
Is there a roof on?
Don't think so.
It could benefit them a little bit.
Yeah.
But then also, like these City players, for example, they've been on tour to the USA plenty of times before. They've played in tough conditions before. So yes, it will affect them in some manner, but sometimes it does feel a bit hotter when you don't have the ball for long periods of time.
Yeah,
so I think for the way that City play, I don't think it's going to suit AIN that they're just chasing shadows essentially for long periods of time. And I mean that with all due respect, because the way that City play, most teams who play against will suffer.
For sure.
So yeah, it's interesting. And to be honest, the tournament itself has received some criticism from people, but it tends to be from people who don't have a club there which they support. So it's easy to talk about. Same way with the Intercontinental thing as well.
Yeah.
Comes to winter time, everyone's like, oh, it's this club. All right, fine, I get it. Your team's not there. I get it.
Yeah.
But for me, I've enjoyed casually watching teams who wouldn't normally see play against teams which maybe I'm more used to.
Yes.
Seeing, for example, some of the South American teams go up against some of the European teams, and say the South African teams going up against Asian teams and so on. It's a reminder of how global football actually is.
For sure.
And the fact that some of these instances, in the international stage when it's national teams, fine. When it's clubs, it's interesting to see the different styles, because we hear of things from a distance. But now here's Botafogo, here's Fluminense, here's Memelo Sundowns, here's Urawa Reds, everything like this.
Yes.
Class. If you love football, this is amazing. And to see today as well, do we know how AIN play? Probably not, because nobody's watched them before.
Nah.
We know that they're going to be a good enough team to be in this competition at this moment in time.
And I mean, the first game, listen, definitely not how they kind of wanted, losing 5-0 to Juve. But you're guessing, obviously, maybe that's where they've garner a bit of a reaction and go, OK, got that first one out of the way. Can we try and make some tweaks to maybe not concede as many, even though you come up against...
I think that's grasping at straws a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
just a little bit.
If you've just lost 5-0 to Juve, then you're playing Man City in the next game.
Yeah.
You're up against it a bit. And look, They've obviously got good players. They've struggled a little bit domestically, but at the same time, when you come up against Man City, these players would never have known anything like it before.
Nah.
You know, Nadal made the point there about City keeping the ball. They're going to be chasing shadows for most of the games. They're going to have to be really disciplined in what they do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to be shattered after 60 minutes, and that's when City will come stronger. But you know what's great for them? It's a great experience for them to come up against one of the best teams in the world as well. And like Nadam said, all those different teams from different countries, the experience and it all as well. And the best point was I had so many arguments over the last week or so with Man United fans who were saying this tournament's pointless. And I'm like, it's only pointless because you're not in it, mate.
Yeah. Correct.
You know, and,
Correct, yeah.
and everybody that's saying the same thing, that, oh, what's it all about? And it's not. If their team is, if Arsenal were in it, or United were in it, or Tottenham were in it, or Liverpool were in it, they'll be staying up to 2 o'clock in the morning to watch their team and hoping that they're going to win it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back to Manchester City then, and I wanted to kind of mention this because we had Nico on the screen, and Arno was given an interview just talking about how naturally, of course, when periods come to an end, the overall has to happen a little bit, and you take the 4 signings we did in January, 4 signings now in the summer. I think 5 of them, if not on display, Kuznetsov on there, 8 Nuri, Nico, and Echeverri as well. I wanted to begin with Nadam. City have finally got a left-back by trade and has played his career at left-back. Quite exciting also. What do you think that's going to do to the balance of the team throughout the season, and what do you make of Nuri as well?
Do you know what? I've got to say, I'm going to get ahead of this.
Go on.
I thought Guardiola did very well left back.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? As far as like quote-unquote non-left back goes, like
colossal.
Yeah, class. It's options again. You know what I mean? And I think one thing about Guardiola, he's very good at sort of like pushing your thought to a new place. Like Sergio, the 9. All of a sudden, City don't have a 9, and they're great. So you get used to not having a 9, and then bang, here comes the 9. You know what I mean? In Erling, like say at one point it's all about the fullbacks. Then all of a sudden, no, maybe we'll go 4 centre halves. Maybe we're inverting fullbacks. Maybe centre backs going into midfield now. And I think essentially, as I say, he sort of makes you think about the game in a different way. But to have that as an option is great because that left-sided balance is huge.
Yes.
I think, in my opinion, whether you're right-footed or left-footed, if you are going to be on that side, you have to be able to open up the field and see it in that way. And having a left-footer there who's very natural on that side, who defend as a lefty on that side, who will attack as a lefty on that side, offers you so many like other options. It's the same as like, you know what Savinho's like if he's on the left versus on the right. You know, the game is just in a different sort of like spot.
For sure.
So I like it. I think it's going to be a good challenge for Nuri to see how he fits into the side, especially with level of expectation now arrives. Because at City, like, you know, you judge on how did the season finish for you, you know, and the journey is obviously a long one.
Yeah.
But you've got to be clinical here. So I think it's going to be good to see if you can raise it to that next level.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I think it's a great signing.
Yeah, I think
I really do. And you look at the age of the players we're signing as well. You know, he's 23.
Yeah.
So he's got so much in praise. 23 with 3 years' experience already in the Premier League. So
that's a great point.
He's a good defender, but he loves going forward as well. We know Pep likes his full-backs to push on and keep their width as well. And he can play a number. He's played right back at Wolves. I think he's played centre. He even played centre forward a couple of seasons ago. So it shows you he's versatile, and if Pep wants to change things about and the full-back is going to come into midfield or stay wide, that he's more than capable of doing it.
Yeah, sorry to jump in as well.
Always jump in, Nadam.
So having to work elsewhere outside of the studio puts me in a position to where, like, sometimes people want to get at me for anything that City are doing, and it's amazing how in recent weeks there's been like almost like a revision of like history, because some of the players that City have now, we see them as being some of the best players in the world. But when they were first signed, not many people were saying that.
Yes.
And it's just a reminder that some of the signings that, say, City have brought in now, these are good signings with potential the same way lots of other players were beforehand. And some people, like, for example, prime example is Kevin De Bruyne. People saying it's £60 million waste of money. And then all these years later says, well, yeah, obviously it's Kevin De Bruyne, you know, it was a great signing. It's amazing how the mind will work once these players improve and get better and fit into a side that ends up being very successful. And I think the signings that they've had in the last few months, especially for the ages Paul's mentioning, they've got a long time to potentially be at City, turning themselves into whatever they need to be, whatever City believe that they can be.
For sure.
And all these wonderful players we've got, they were never bought as superstars.
Yeah.
The example is Haaland and Vardy are the 2 biggest names, in my opinion, that City have bought in the last.
Even go back to Bernardo, you go back to Ruben when we brought them in.
Exactly.
They weren't massive world superstars, but we've made them into that. And then made the point about Kevin. When Pep came in and Kevin was already at a level I was thinking he couldn't beat. and he went above that level.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Fernandinho then, when Rodri comes in, you know, all these players, top world-class players, they improve and improve.
Yeah.
And I think the reason the recruitment's so good is we buy them at the right age.
Yes.
Knowing the potential they've got to get better.
Well, another one, and we were just speaking about him off camera, Echeverri, young Argentinian, obviously made his debut in the FA Cup, which I was really excited about. But you just saying you had a chance to spend some time with Martin Di Michaelis, who was obviously spoke so highly.
Yeah, we went to Buenos Aires in a trophy tour, and Martin was the River Plate manager at the time. And it was round about they just signed him, but he was going back to River Plate on loan, and obviously the first thing you do is ask him what he's like, and he said he's the best one to come out of Argentina since the obvious one is never obviously going to be as good as that because nobody is. They say, but he gave me his debut when he was 16. They said if you can handle Argentinian football when you're 16 years old, from a physicality point of view, you've got half a chance. But he said his technical ability in tight spaces is up there with the very best, and he was only like 17, 18 at that time as well. So super exciting signing. Not a lot of talk about going out on loan, but I think it's interesting that he's starting tonight, actually.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Well, and actually, I guess for him as well, to make the point of not send him out on loan, to bring him into not only travel with the squad, but be playing, maybe as a sign of actually he's very much maybe in Pep's thinking for the season ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it could be very easy to send a young player from a different country out on loan and say, you know, you're part of the long-term plans and so on, but that is very much a big statement in itself. And obviously there's no guarantee that he'll be playing all the games come August, September and so on and so forth, but maybe for him that's like the little boost that he needs because the manager now trusts him, understands in the same way he trusted him in that FA Cup final. You know, these little things, these little bricks that sort of build up to this player that, you know, we hope from the City perspective he ends up being.
Yeah, things like also getting a lot of love from all of our fans who are watching over on YouTube. We've been running a poll, and he's currently second for being the first goal scorer, of course. Okay. Hard to see past Haaland. But, second.
It's the race for second every time Haaland's playing, isn't it? Yeah.
Just also as well, another quick mention for me is Nico. Obviously, he's a box-to-box. Everyone thinks coming in to fill the Rodri role, but I think Pep has spoken about can also deliver a lot more than that. But he's kind of got the same physique, same stature, and I'm quite excited after him, of course, having signed in January now, very much embedded in the team. Excited to kind of see him grow into his position as well and what he'll bring to the team.
Well, you've seen him at Porto. He played more as an 8. You know, I think the obvious comparison, because Rodri was out injured and we've signed a midfielder. And similar in stature, as you said. Obviously Spanish as well, so people are putting 2 and 2 together. And he can play as a 6, or he could play a double pivot with Rodri in there as well. But if you look at the majority of his time at Porto, he played as an 8, and he was like an old-fashioned box-to-box. Chipped in with goals, chipped in with assists, break things up. And I thought towards the games he played towards the end of the season, I thought he looked a really, really good player, playing a little bit further on.
For sure.
Yeah, I would totally agree, and it's good, you know, like when you look at the midfield that they have now, they've got significant options. And also, I think in your mind, you can picture different ways in which they can play as well. Like whether we're talking about Kovacic, you're talking about a Rodri, you're talking about a Reinders, you're talking about a Nico, like that's a nice fourth to just begin with. And you can complement like Bernardo Silva and others within that as well. And Phil's, like Shirky's.
Come on.
That's exciting.
And also, I had to do a quick mention because I thought Reinders' first game, in our first game looked, I mean, like he played unbelievable. He was phenomenal. Some of them passed it. I watched his 3-minute highlight, just his touches.
Yeah, of course you did. Do you not cut it as well? You did that,
of course. But the way he, you know, when you can just, it felt like he played at City for the last 5 years, and some of the vision of his passing and his touch was so delightful on the ball.
Good footballers coming into other good footballers and having a great coach. Yeah, I mean, the people will be all right. Fair play to them.
Do all right. Now, Michael Brown is here, there and everywhere over in the United States of America. So we wanted to try and track him down, first of all, get him for a moment to let us know what he's been up to and how he is finding it over in the States following the FIFA Club World Cup.
Firstly, we're delighted to be here. The Zone is the country I'm working for. We're getting good coverage over in the UK, but it's been an enjoyable first 5 or 6 days. Started at Atlanta with Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Manchester City are going to be there. It is the best. It's an incredible stadium. The roof stays closed, and when you get to see it on your shots, you're going to really enjoy visiting that, and I'm sure the City fans will really enjoy their time in Atlanta. But this place as well, I've just walked into the Lincoln Financial Field where Manchester City won the other day. I'm just about to cover Flamenco v Chelsea. But yeah, it's hotting up. The supporters are increasing. It's getting more coverage right around the US, and there's been some interesting results. South American teams, which I'm about to witness, are causing a few problems. So it's been a really enjoyable start to the tournament. The quality's been good. There is some teams obviously weakened, which are going to always struggle. But we might see a few surprises as the tournament develops and gets to the late stages. If we've looked in the tournament so far, we've seen the teams who have been able to field their new signings, they've gone on and done it. They've given them minutes, whether they've started or whether they've come on. So I wasn't really surprised that Pep Guardiola decided on that. I think what we've looked at with Phil Foden is he had a wonderful season. Then last year it just didn't fall for him. A couple of injuries here and there, and then just trying to find his feet, get his form back. And now to see him starting, he'll be ready to go. You know how thorough he is. You know how committed. He's got all the talent, all the ability, and he's got the temperament to go with it. So to see him starting, to see him getting involved in goals is great to see. And I want to see him have a real strong run in this tournament to set us off in a strong Premier League season. We've had to do a lot of travelling. We've got to Atlanta already, into Miami. We got stuck getting into Philadelphia because of a certain storm, which we've seen in some of the games. So our baggage for 2 hours. So it's not all glamour. It's not all celebrating being here in the States in the sunshine. There is a bit of hard work to it. And then we're off to Charlotte as soon as the game finishes to cover Real Madrid again. Then back here to do Chelsea. And then I'm hoping I'll meet Manchester City round of 16 or quarter-final and semi-final. That's my aim. So let's see how it all drops in. Yeah, after the game, we've got to go straight off. We've got to find the bags. It's logistics because bags are at the hotel, back to the airport, off to Charlotte, where we're going to cover Real Madrid again. So 2 or 3 nights there. Then we come back. We've got 2 more games in this stadium, which are going to be Chelsea and then Real Madrid's final game. And then it's obviously the draw, isn't it? Round of 16, wait. But the good news is we're going to be in Miami for my 2 games. It doesn't get better, does it? Round of 16, Miami, then off to Atlanta. And then obviously semi-finals back to New York, and the final follows just after that. So a lot of travelling, really enjoying it. Glad to be here. And it's fantastic weather, and to be obviously following and commentating on such great games. I'm very fortunate.
Thank you, Michael. Hard life, isn't it? Struggling over there, Michael.
I thought we were going to get one match day live without Michael bringing it.
Not possible.
We're just bringing you some pictures here as well. This is a little fan event that took place in Atlanta.
Speaking of people who get wet water, oh my God!
Another one.
Of course, it's FG.
Right.
Of course.
This is all noted, by the way. Paul, when do we get our trip?
We'll go out once we get qualified through the group stages. We'll
get our little...
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, but it is fantastic to see all the blue shirts, obviously, in and around the States, but to see the fans in America and all getting involved with our fan events, it is fantastic. So if you are over there, or maybe you're going to one of the games, or the next game as well, do check them out. They'll be in and around wherever Manchester City are playing, and to see the City shirts and City events around it is absolutely fantastic.
City put on good events, to be fair.
Yeah. We know what we're doing.
Fans. Yeah,
we don't mess around.
Shout out to everyone that organises those. It's great. Those are great.
That was a good little clip, actually, testing people's first touch. Glad I was on there. FG's got like a 6.
And I'm not on there as well. Oh, look at that good in real life as well. Go on.
Right.
It's good to see FG's not testing his first touch. I've not seen him anywhere to be seen.
I've seen it, mate.
As soon as the football came out, he disappeared.
Correct.
Now, we were touching before upon, obviously, the overall that's happened, the shrewd bit of business. And a big part of that, of course, is we lost Cheeky, who had been here for so long, been such a massive part of City's success, and more or less built 3 teams for us over his time here. In comes Hugo Viana, came over from, he was from Sporting Lisbon, did an amazing job there. And we've seen his first 4 signings this summer. But for me, I think what's been even more important was the refresh of the backroom staff. And I think, as you're saying, the team kind of need the refresh, but it felt behind the scenes as well. And Pep has said, massive thank you, of course, to the likes of Juan Malilo, Carlo Vincenzo, who has moved on. But he has welcomed in Kolo Touré, who we've just seen, Pep Linders, who was Jurgen Klopp's assistant, as well as James French, who also came from Liverpool as a set-piece coach. I wanted to begin with this man. I don't know if you've had a chance to watch much with him, how he kind of sees football, very much about the high pressing, very fast. I spoke to a few Liverpool fans who attribute, of course, so much to Klopp, but a big part of their success down to that man. I think getting him as an assistant is an amazing bit of business.
Yeah, I think it certainly can be, yeah, because I think for the way that, say, City have played in the last couple of years, you wouldn't have thought that someone like Linders would be coming to City. So it's interesting that they've recruited somebody with his type of profile.
Yes.
So I think it adds another sort of like dynamic to the way that we could potentially see City play. And it's not obviously going to be every single game, but that perspective is an interesting one because it does feel different to the way that Pep sees the game as well.
Yeah.
So I think having people that can both complement and challenge you in terms of how you see things is going to be a good thing, because then maybe it's a case of, well, is this the right plan?
Yes.
And obviously you don't want like coaches or people to be moving on and so on and so forth, because, you know, the staff that they've had they've been pretty successful across the years. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he sort of helps the City side go to that next level. You know, with Hugo, as you've said as well, and the fact that there's so many young players now who are being signed by the club. So, you know, what does it look like in 4 or 5 years' time?
Yeah.
I think for the first time, we're not 100% sure.
No.
I think Nadal made a great point there, and I think it's credit to Pep as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. People like Pep Linders, they're going to challenge Pep.
Yeah.
In different style of play, and you know, when you're the manager, it can be quite easy to get in your comfort zone with your staff because you spend day in, day out with them 24/7, and you can get comfortable with it. And I think the fact that it's been shaken up a little bit
massively,
and he's brought in people that maybe you wouldn't have thought he would have brought in maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And the big one for me is Colo. What a guy!
Yeah,
what a guy!
Colo, man.
You know, he's a fantastic coach.
He's been on that,
fantastic coach, and he's been very unlucky not to get another manager's job. And he's been in and around the club, the environment, but more than anything else, his enthusiasm about football is great. And if you're a player and you're looking at Colo Touré, then the guy's a legend.
Yeah.
And you've got him in there, and he's coaching you and everything else. I think he's a great appointment.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know Colo was in there. Then I was watching some of the videos on City's Instagram. I was like,
there he is.
That's Colo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and because like you say, I mean, his playing career was he part of the Invincibles team?
Yeah.
Then I mean, he's then the managers that he's worked under, Wenger, obviously his time at City, but then he was alongside Brendan Rodgers, another unbelievable manager. Then he was working in our academy as well, and you'll know Paul as well as a coach as well. He must, he's very highly thought of here.
He's a top coach. He was so unlucky with what happened at Wigan. Get stitched up a little bit. I can say that he can't.
And
get ripped his job, and he just loves football. But if you sit and talk to him about football and coaching, he's so interesting.
Yeah,
it's fascinating to listen to. And, you know, he's got his own way that he wants to play. He loves teams that play out from the back, play through the lines. But defensively, he's a top coach as well.
Yeah. I mean, you could see as well, I think, from some of the clips, he's right involved in the action already. I don't know if we can play that, but were you talking about when he did his initiation song?
No.
You're not seeing?
No.
Oh, hopefully, I don't know. Have we got the clip for that, gallery? Do we have that? We'll find it. We'll go and dish that one out. But I think we played it on the last show. But he does the iconic.
He's like he's still yeah. So he's still young enough to be like relatable as well to those players. You know, which makes a big difference.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say about Colo, which is one of the reasons why I love him as well, like having been lucky enough to play alongside him again, someone who wasn't invincible, like what an accolade that is.
Yeah.
Is he's got an edge to him as well.
Of course he has. I played against him.
Yeah.
Right, he has.
Cole's got an edge to him. So, like, for those players, they might see you say, oh, nice. Oh, it's Colo, it's the song, Listen, if he's not happy with something, he's going to let you know about it very directly. And again, it's another thing that you need, because you can't always just be nicey nice all the time.
For sure.
As a player, as a professional, because it's dog eat dog out there. And the teams that you're playing against will do everything they can to beat you. And I think the more people you have around you that make sure the standards remain high, I mean, success is it's going to be more than possible.
Absolutely. I'm going to send you the link, because the 5-minute clip I've watched of Pep Linders on his philosophy and how he sees football, it's class.
Yes.
Very, very exciting to see, the two Peps.
Yeah.
See what them two minds come together and make happen. Now, we've got loads of Manchester City fans, of course, over in the States. One in particular, Luke Stanley. He's been following them all around, and he's been sending us some clips that we've been able to play out here to keep us up to date on his journey and how he's getting on over at the Club World Cup. So let's see what Luke Stanley has been getting up to.
Hello everyone. Wow, this is a bit of a weird one. We're in Philadelphia somehow for the Club World Cup. We're heading to meet some of the supporters clubs, some of the American fans, anyone out here basically. And then we're playing Wydad in our opening game of the Club World Cup. So I'm very excited. And yeah, it's crazy to be here. It's absolutely mad. There's the side, guys. It's decent. Some new, you got Turkey in that, it's exciting. Reinders, but no Haaland, interesting. Right, we're on the way to the ground. I shotgunned, not going in the front, not going in the middle, and not going in the back. But I've somehow ended up swimming in seatbelts in the back of the Uber. But we're on the way to the ground. Ryan Cherky starts, Reinders starts, no Haaland. But yeah, I'm excited now. Right, we've made it in. This is very American, I have to say, but we've arrived. Oh, look at this. Players are walking out one by one. Quite a strange experience, this. Crazy.
Savino into the box, puts in a low cross, goalkeeper parries and Foden scores! Foden swings it in, and it's 2-0. Jeremy Doku.
2-0. Great goal off the corner. He called it, this lad here. He called it. He's happy. He's loving it. Come on, the boys. We're relocating seats for sure because it's just too hot. We're going to try and get in the shade or something. Right, we've relocated it all the way to third tier, but we had to do it. It's too hot. Fair mad from the Wydad fans there, look at that. Right, people, just got back to the Airbnb. As you can see, I've had to have a change, I've had a shower, my nose is burnt, but we won the game 2-0. I hope I've kind of showed you what it is like experiencing kind of a game in America. It was great to see so many fans, so many City fans, have a chat with them. We're actually now going to head out into Philadelphia. We're going to get some food first. We're going to go to see the supporters club, see the City fans. That was Manchester City versus Wydad in the United States, in Philadelphia, in Lincoln Field Stadium, or whatever it's called. I forgot the name. But yeah, decent 2-0, up the Blues.
Up the Blues indeed. And here it is. Colo Torre doing the Colo and Yaya song.
If you can sing your own song like that,
that's just iconic.
There's only him and the GOAT that can get away with that, singing their own songs.
Did you, were there any like initiation songs when you'd moved to a club or anything that you can share on?
Initiation songs or a speech that you had to do.
What would you rather, Carl? A song or a speech?
Probably a song.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
What a speech about what?
My first one at Arsenal as a kid was a speech where I actually ripped George Graham about it, but he didn't realise till a few months afterwards. Ooh. And every time I say, I was sweating every time I seen him, honestly. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but with speeches and whatnot, you just be like, hi, I'm Cal, a bit about myself.
Thank the staff, thank the teammates for bringing you in.
Oh, mate, if I'm doing something like that, do a speech.
Yeah,
but then try and add something funny into it.
Yeah.
George Graham didn't find very funny when he found out what was actually meaning with it.
What about you, Nate?
I think I just sang a couple of songs, that's it.
What was it? Give us your song choice.
Generally don't even remember, but it's awkward because like with these initiation songs, you can't try too hard, but you can't be crap.
No.
You got to try and find that middle ground.
It's a fine line.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Hang on a second, this guy's having himself. You know what I mean? Oh, this guy's a disaster.
So once you start reading the words, all that, no.
Yeah,
no. Real shaky people.
Yeah. Maybe we should start introducing it for Matchday Live. For, new guests.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, I think the issue might be some of the new guests tend to be like older managers. So as younger people telling them to do something like that.
And now perform.
Like Big Sam last year or whatever. Sam, could you sing a song for us? Listen, if you want to tell him, you tell him, I'm not doing that.
He would do it, by the way.
Yeah, he absolutely would, but who's asking a question? That's the issue.
Listen, maybe not some. We'll find something that I think that we can bring to the Matchday Live initiation challenge. Right, let me just recap the team view. It's on the bottom of your screen. It's 11 changes from that first game. Ortega in goal, Akanji, Kusanov, Gvardiol, and a new signing, Ain't Nori at left back. Moving into midfield, we've got Nico, Gundogan, and Bernardo Silva, of course, captaining for the first time, as chosen by Pep Guardiola. Then Mateus Nunes, Echeverri, and Erling Haaland complete the starting 11. Gents, second game. We're of course hoping here now that we can secure a win. That'll put us at 6 points, more or less. Hopefully, get us into that next round. I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you'd like to see from the team today. What you excited to see as well, Naden?
Ain't Nori for me. Echeverri as well. Yeah. I think some of the newer players like Kusanov, all part of that. Like you want to see them continue to develop, and that's the thing itself. And obviously, this isn't going to necessarily define the season as such, but it could be the start of gaining significant momentum. And for these players, for the way they play today, who knows, maybe it could be in the manager's mind about something further down the road when they play against a team maybe similar.
Yes.
There's a style of play, for example. So yeah, just good link-up, and you want to see a sense of familiarity. I think some of the best City sides I've seen in a pre-season feel like they've been around together for a very, very long time. If they're on the same wavelength now, just imagine further down the road. So yeah, just that sort of cohesive play. That's all I want to see.
Yeah, but a little bit like Nedum, you want to see the new players come in and perform and do well and settle in quickly. Please see Kuzanov back as well. I thought he was outstanding when he first came in.
Yeah.
Echeverri, as I said, and Matheus Nunes as well. I thought he finished the season really, really well.
Yeah, good point.
Playing out of position, and so it'll be interesting to see him a bit more forward and a bit more of a natural role as well.
Second quickest player in the Premier League last year as well. Did you see that?
No.
Hey, listen, man, everyone's talking about Van der Ven. Everyone's talking about Van der Ven. Matheus Nunes, number 2, mate.
What, Van der Ven was first?
Van der Ven was first, Matheus Nunes was number 2.
Also, I think, obviously we took the role of a position that he wasn't kind of used to, so I think it's actually quite...
I thought he was brilliant, Kev.
I thought he was great.
Really did.
But to see him maybe naturally where he's more used to playing, I think, might also mean we'll get to see other sides of him that we didn't get to see because he was playing at right back a little bit, Paul.
A little bit more freedom without the defensive responsibility of playing at full-back, and look, it was still in Pep's teams, regardless of where you play, you've got some sort of defensive responsibility in there, but maybe seeing him playing with a bit more freedom, a bit more further up the pitch with an Akanji behind him or a Kuzanov who's going to play full-back as well. Yeah. Go and express yourself a little bit more.
Do you like these walkouts, Cal?
No, I don't get it. It's
not a FIFA thing. It's an American thing.
Really?
Yeah. Well, they do walkouts like NBA and stuff, don't they? Because FIFA haven't tried that anywhere else.
When you were playing in the MLS, did you have to do it?
No. Behave yourself, mate. Absolutely behave yourself.
I'd love to have seen Big Ned's there.
No. Listen,
the players don't want to do it either, do they?
No, it's awkward, isn't it? It's awkward.
It's coming out on your own.
Yeah.
Cousin of their class. Right, gents, we'll be back at half-time, then at full-time. Now, remember, you can watch this game for free on DAZN. Just go on there, sign up, and you can watch this game and, of course, all the other games in the FIFA Club World Cup. And if you want to get our commentary, you could maybe watch it and then listen to Alistair Mann and Andy Morrison through the Manchester City app. I'm going to hand over to them now. Thank you so much for watching us. Let's hope that we can win this second group game, and we will see you at half-time. Come on, the Blues. Come on, City.
Well, it's only match day 2 for the Blues, but they are already just a win away from the knockout stages of the FIFA Club World Cup. A victory against the UAE club side Al AIN will ensure their qualification ahead of the match with Juventus on Thursday. This evening's opponents were thumped 5-0 by Juventus in their opening game, and